Welcome to Everyday English with Annie. Imagine for a second if the coffee you're drinking right now was actively listening to you complain about your commute.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
Right. And what if it was physically turning toxic because of it? Like, what if the water in your glass could actually understand the words you speak, absorb the stress of a frustrating email, and react to your deepest secrets?
Yeah, just soaking it all up like a sponge.
Exactly. Well, today we are unpacking a genuinely mind-bending concept from a 2004 book preserved on the Internet Archive. It's called The Hidden Messages in Water by Dr. Masaru Emoto.
And this is a custom deep dive designed specifically for you, our listener.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity to practice your English listening skills because we're exploring a text that uses highly specific descriptive vocabulary to challenge basically everything we think we know about the physical world around us. So, okay, let's unpack this.
It's a fascinating premise to dig into, especially from a linguistic perspective. I mean, when we typically think of water, we treat it as an inanimate substance, you know?
All right, just a chemical compound, H2O.
Exactly. You drink it, you wash your hands with it, it rains down on us. In everyday English, we talk about water as a resource, not a participant.
But this text suggests water is something much more responsive.
Right. It argues that water acts almost like a sponge for human intention.
Right, but you can't exactly look at a puddle on the sidewalk and see it getting angry when you splash it.
Mhm.
Water is, by its very nature, fluid.
Constantly shifting.
Yeah, it's moving constantly at the molecular level. So how on earth does the author claim to capture a message in something that just refuses to sit still?
Well, that is the major hurdle the author had to overcome, and it's where Dr. Emoto's specific methodology comes in.
Okay.
According to the text, he doesn't try to observe water in its liquid state because, as you said, it's too volatile. Instead, he uses high-speed photography to capture crystals formed in frozen water.
Oh, which makes sense mechanically. It's basically like hitting a pause button on a fleeting emotion.
That's a great way to put it.
Like, trying to read a message in fluid water would be like trying to photograph a bird in flight using a really slow camera shutter. You're just going to get a messy blur.
Exactly.
Freezing the water into ice crystals is what allows his high-speed photography to capture the water's, well, for lack of a better term, its facial expression.
The freezing process acts exactly as that pause button. But what's fascinating here is the text's specific use of the phrase concentrated thoughts.
Oh, really?
The author claims these ice crystals reveal physical changes only when specific, concentrated thoughts are directed toward the water before it is frozen.
And concentrated thoughts is a heavy phrase in English. It doesn't just mean, casually wondering what you're having for lunch while holding a glass of water.
No, it elevates the meaning entirely. In English, adding the adjective concentrated to a noun like thoughts implies intentional, focused mental energy.
Like really zeroing in.
Right. It's the act of deliberately directing your mind's focus onto a specific object. The methodology hinges entirely on this directed intention. The water is exposed to these concentrated thoughts and then immediately frozen to capture the physical manifestation of that exposure.
Wait, I have to push back here. How does a thought even reach the water?
Well,
Even if we accept the pause button method of freezing it, what is the author's internal logic for how my brain's focus physically crosses the empty space between me and the glass?
right.
Because purity and pollution are chemical states.
Hmm.
Words are just sound waves. How does the text justify this connection?
The author bridges that gap using the concepts of resonance and vibration.
Resonance, okay.
According to the text, everything in the universe vibrates at a specific frequency. Thoughts aren't just abstract ideas floating in your head. The author argues they emit a measurable frequency.
Wow.
Words, when spoken aloud or even intensely thought about, carry a specific vibrational energy. So when you direct a concentrated thought at the water, you are essentially transmitting a specific frequency.
And the water catches it.
Right. The water's molecular structure then physically aligns with that vibration before it's frozen.
Okay, so the logic is that the water is acting almost like a tuning fork, catching the vibration of the thought. That helps explain the how, even if it sounds a bit like science fiction.
He does.
It sets up this idea that water is a blank canvas, and the vibration of our thoughts paints the picture, which means we need to talk about what those pictures actually look like when we press that pause button.
And this is where the English vocabulary used in the source material becomes deeply evocative.
Oh, definitely.
The book details two starkly different types of reactions based on the frequency of the input, and the author draws a direct line between the emotional weight of the words used and the physical shape of the resulting ice crystals.
Let's look at the positive input first. The text states that water flowing from clear springs, or water that has been exposed to what it calls loving words, shows a very specific type of crystal.
Yeah, a really beautiful word.
The adjectives used here are brilliant, complex, and colorful snowflake patterns.
Let's unpack those adjectives for our listener, actually, because they carry a lot of nuance in English. Brilliant goes beyond just meaning smart.
Right.
In a physical sense, it suggests something shining, radiant, and full of light. When you pair that with complex, you're implying an intricate, highly sophisticated design made of many interconnected parts.
Right. It's not just a simple square or a flat circle. A complex snowflake pattern suggests a high level of natural architectural order.
Precisely. And colorful implies vibrancy and life. So when the water gets this positive vibrational input, it essentially forms a microscopic masterpiece.
That is so cool.
The author tested specific phrases to see this in action, too. For example, the text notes that when water was exposed to the phrase love and gratitude, it allegedly formed the most beautiful hexagonal crystals that were perfectly balanced.
The love and gratitude creates a brilliant, complex snowflake. But then the text explores the exact opposite scenario.
The negative input.
Right. When water is polluted, or when it's exposed to negative thoughts, the resulting crystals form patterns described with words like incomplete, asymmetrical, and dull-colored.
The book uses the example of exposing water to aggressive phrases like, "you fool."
Which brings up an interesting linguistic question about how this works across languages, doesn't it?
It really does. Dr. Emoto was Japanese, so his original experiments used Japanese words. But the book claims the phenomenon works across different languages.
Wait, really?
Yeah, whether you say thank you in English, arigato in Japanese, or merci in French.
So the water isn't pulling out an English dictionary to understand the definition of the word.
Exactly. The text argues it's not the linguistic definition the water is reacting to, it's the intention and the vibration behind the word.
Ah, I get it.
The universal human emotion of gratitude carries a specific high-frequency vibration, regardless of the syllables used to express it. Conversely, the intention behind a phrase like "you fool" carries a heavy, discordant, low-frequency vibration.
Okay, I really need to stop and challenge the core logic here again because I'm noticing a very strange pairing in the text.
What's that?
The source material groups physical states directly with emotional states.
Oh, yes.
For the positive side, it pairs clear springs, which is a literal chemical state of physical purity, with loving words, which is an emotional intention.
Right.
And for the negative side, it pairs polluted water, a tangible reality of physical contamination, with negative thoughts. How is the author possibly justifying that a bad thought is mechanically the same as dumping raw sewage into a spring?
Well, the author equates physical purity with emotional positivity because, in his framework, they both generate a harmonious high-frequency vibration.
Okay.
On the flip side, physical pollution and emotional negativity both generate a chaotic, low-frequency vibration. By placing them side by side, the text argues that the water doesn't differentiate between a physical chemical and an emotional frequency.
To the water, they're the same thing.
Right. To the water, a harsh word and a toxic chemical are both just disruptive vibrations. They yield the exact same physical results in the ice crystals.
That's wild. So yelling "you fool" at a glass of water is, according to this book, the vibrational equivalent of dumping dirt into it.
Essentially, yeah.
It literally pollutes the structure of the water.
That's exactly the implication. And the English adjectives used to describe these negative outcomes linguistically reinforce this idea of disruption. Let's look at the word incomplete.
Okay.
It means unfinished or lacking something essential. It implies a failure to reach a full potential. The water was trying to form a natural crystal, but the negative frequency disrupted the process, leaving it unfinished.
And then there's asymmetrical. That's a fantastic word for our listener to grasp.
It is.
The prefix is a means without, and symmetry is so closely associated with beauty, balance, and natural order.
Yeah.
A healthy snowflake is famously symmetrical. To say the crystal is asymmetrical means it's lopsided, uneven. It implies a total disruption of the natural order. The vibration of the negative word essentially broke the water's ability to balance itself.
Yes, it implies structural chaos. And pairing that with dull-colored drains the life out of the image entirely.
Right.
It's the exact opposite of the vibrant, radiant energy we saw with the positive words. The text suggests that the negative frequency literally strips the energy and light away from the water's structure.
So you're left with an ugly, incomplete, lopsided blob instead of a beautiful, balanced snowflake. Okay. So water allegedly makes beautiful, ordered shapes for nice words and ugly, chaotic shapes for mean words because of how the intentions behind those words vibrate. So what does this all mean?
That's the real question.
It's easy to view this as just a quirky photography trick or a bizarre pseudoscience experiment that lives in a petri dish in a lab somewhere.
And if it just stayed in the lab, it would be exactly that, a novelty. But the author takes these microscopic observations and applies them to a massive global context.
Sure.
The text points out a fundamental biological and geographical fact that we all know. Humans and the Earth are composed mostly of water.
Right. We learned that in grade school. The Earth's surface is about 71% water.
Yes.
And the adult human body is roughly 60% water. Our brains and our hearts are up to 73% water. We are essentially walking, talking water balloons.
That visual really gets to the heart of the text's conclusion. Because humans and the Earth share this exact same composition as the water in those petri dishes, the text states these findings have profound significance.
Profound significance. Let's unpack that phrase.
Please do.
Profound is an excellent vocabulary word for our listener to use. It doesn't just mean important. It means very deep, having a massive fundamental impact on how we understand something. It's the exact opposite of superficial.
Right.
So what is the profound leap the author is making here?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the philosophical leap is enormous. This isn't just about ice crystals under a microscope anymore. Because we share this fundamental water composition with the planet, the text implies that our words and our concentrated thoughts have the power to literally shape our physical environment and our physical selves.
So if water in a lab reacts this drastically to loving words or negative thoughts, forming either brilliant snowflakes or asymmetrical blobs, what does this text imply about what happens inside our own bodies when we are exposed to a constant stream of negative or positive words?
That is the exact realization the author intends for the reader. If a concentrated negative thought can create an incomplete, dull-colored crystal in a frozen droplet, what is chronic stress or intense self-criticism doing to the 60% of your body that is water?
It's a staggering concept when you scale it up.
It really is.
It suggests that the vocabulary we use, the literal English words we speak to ourselves, whether they are loving or negative, might have a physiological impact on our own internal structure.
Yes, it takes the concept of positive thinking completely out of the realm of abstract psychology.
It's no longer just about having a good attitude.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. It tries to place it firmly in the realm of physical, structural reality. Your thoughts are vibrations that are constantly restructuring the water inside you. And it extends to our environment, too. If the Earth is mostly water, how do human actions, human words, and human collective thoughts impact the physical structure of the planet's water supply?
So it's not just internal.
No. The implication is that we are constantly interacting with and altering the world around us simply through our mental and verbal output. A collective negative vibration could, theoretically, pollute a water source structurally, even if no physical chemicals were ever dumped into it.
That makes me rethink so many common English idioms. We use the phrase toxic environment all the time to describe a bad workplace or a negative relationship.
Right, all the time.
But if this book is to be believed, a toxic emotional environment could literally, physically result in toxic water inside the bodies of the people in that environment. The metaphor becomes completely literal.
It definitely blurs the line between the subjective world of emotions and the objective world of matter. The author is utilizing these high-speed photographs to argue that there is no separation at all.
None at all.
Right. Thought and matter are intimately connected, constantly interacting through the medium of water.
I have to admit, my skeptical brain is flashing red lights all over the place with that macro claim. The idea that a bad mood could pollute a lake sounds scientifically impossible.
It's definitely a huge leap.
But looking at it purely through the lens of the text and the vocabulary we're practicing today, the internal logic of the book holds together.
It does.
If thought is a frequency, and water absorbs frequency, and humans and the earth are mostly water, then yes, the macro implication is that our words literally shape the world.
It's a textbook example of taking a singular premise, water absorbs vibration, and following it to its absolute most extreme logical conclusion. Whether or not you accept the science, the vocabulary used to construct the argument is undeniably powerful. The contrast between brilliant, complex symmetry and incomplete asymmetrical dullness is a potent way to visualize the impact of our language.
It's been quite a journey today diving into this text. Let's briefly recap what we've covered for our listener.
Good idea.
We started with the unique methodology from the 2004 book, The Hidden Messages in Water. Dr. Masaru Emoto used high-speed photography to capture frozen crystals, essentially hitting the pause button on fluid water to see its reaction to the frequencies emitted by what the text calls concentrated thoughts.
We then explore the specific English vocabulary used to describe the results. Positive inputs like clear springs and loving words allegedly created brilliant, complex, and colorful snowflake patterns.
Right.
And negative inputs like polluted water and harsh words resulted in incomplete asymmetrical and dull-colored patterns, showing a disruption of natural order.
We highlighted how the text literally equates physical pollution with emotional negativity through the concept of vibration.
And finally, we discussed the massive macro implications of this claim.
Right, because the earth and our own bodies are mostly made of water. Our concentrated thoughts, both loving and negative, might alter the very physical structure of a water-based planet and species.
It is a concept that certainly forces you to reevaluate the power of language, which brings up an important provocative question for you, our listener, to take away from this deep dive.
Ooh, let's hear it.
If the text is right, and your words can theoretically alter the physical structure of water into either brilliant snowflakes or dull asymmetrical blobs, how might you change the way you speak to yourself today, considering you are mostly made of water?
What an incredible thought to end on. If the water inside you is listening, what exactly are you telling it? Thank you so much for joining us for this custom deep dive.
Yes, thanks for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed this session and your English listening practice today. As always, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep your curiosity alive.